For mainstream audiences who want to get into art house movies, you have this movie. For hipsters who want to get into mainstream movies, I'm kidding, they don't exist. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is based on this 1939 short story by James Thurber, but this one's written by Steve Conrad, and it stars Kristen Wiig, Adam Scott, Sean Penn, and of course Ben Stiller, who also directed the movie. And The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is pretty much a story about this daydreamer. He's like the biggest daydreamer ever. Like, this guy will zone out while he's talking to you, and you get to peek into his mind, you see all these fantastical things he's thinking about in contrast to, the boring life he leads. And Walter Mitty in this movie works at Life magazine. He's the guy who processes the negatives of the photos. And Life magazine, which is a real magazine, by the way, I didn't know that because I'm young and stupid. Life magazine is on its way out, and it's going to become an online-only publication, which means a lot of people are going to get laid off. So this is like Walter Mitty's last days on the job. But the negative that is going to be used as the cover for this last issue is missing. So Walter Mitty now has to go out into the world and find this negative, and he discovers that, the real world is much more fantastical than anything he has ever dreamed up. Now, Ben Stiller as a director is usually known for his comedic work. Actually, as an actor, yeah, he's known as a comedian, really. And The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is kind of like his first foray into more serious filmmaking. It's very much a drama. There's still comedic elements in it, and like I mentioned in the intro, it's kind of like the art house movie for beginners. Interestingly enough, though, I found myself enjoying much more the dramatic elements and the artsy elements than the actual comedic stuff, which, Ben Stiller is more used to. First of all, let me mention the things that I did like about this movie. Number one, this movie looks incredible. Like, the cinematography is out of this world. Like, you know how when you watch The Lord of the Rings, you immediately want to go to New Zealand to see those places yourself? In The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, you immediately want to go to Iceland and Greenland and the Himalayas. Like, this images you see here are just, it's amazing. And you know how those magazines like Time and Life and, National Geographic, their covers are always they're so hyper real, and every single frame of this movie looks that good. I mean, you get wide shots that are just like, I don't remember the last time I saw a wide shot that impressive, and it just really swept me off my feet because it's so obviously like they shot in location, and I'm so glad they did because really this movie just looked great. Also, the music is really good. Now, a lot of people, I think, might be able to make fun of this soundtrack as like, stereotypical hipster soundtrack. Those folk rock guys with the wispy vocals, and you're playing a song over this huge landscape and stuff, and it just feels really, really, independent. But I really did like this music. Like, it's so easy to overuse this style of music and, make things feel, more artsy than it should be. But the music here really did match the tone. I think it really captures that feeling of, whoa, there's a wonderful world out there. And the movie is really big on the whole life-affirming, go out and do what you really want to do in life. And I think the music does capture that again, and it really works well with the cinematography. And Ben Stiller directing this it really surprised me that, he managed to get shots that are not necessarily in a comedy director's repertoire. Like, you wouldn't really expect this from Ben Stiller. But he manages to pull off sequences here that are really breathtaking, and I can't say that enough. This movie is a feast for the senses. However, there are a lot of problems, and I really didn't enjoy this movie as much as I wanted to. As good as a movie can look and sound, it's all about the story. And the story here, it just didn't work for me. First of all, as I mentioned before, I like the dramatic, artsy elements more than the comedic elements, and whenever the comedic stuff was happening on screen, it really felt like the movie just screeched to a halt. And it's not like I don't like Ben Stiller's comedy. It's the fact that the comedy here feels so misplaced next to the dramatic stuff. The movie from the very get-go, it sets this tone, which kind of feels ruined by the attempts at humor, which are very deadpan, and these takes go on for so long, and they feel very uneven. They're very awkward. Like, oh, this is supposed to be funny, but I'm not laughing. And yeah, really, it is with the script, unfortunately, that I find a problem with this. For one, the characters are completely undefined. Like, Walter Mitty as a character, like, I'm fine with the acting though. Ben Stiller does a decent job here. Like, it's not standout or anything, but his character, he just kind of gets pushed into the situation, and I don't know, I found it a bit hard to connect to him. Like, he's experiencing all these things, and I can tell the movie's trying to be like, oh, Walter Mitty is having this realization that, whoa, this world is so much better than, my daydreams, but it really just doesn't come off as that. I feel like the movie focused a bit too much on the actual scenery than Walter Mitty in that scenery. Dialogue again also kind of falls flat with the awkward comedic moments, and really it's very bare bones dialogue. It's like nothing that really that memorable. It's just stuff to kind of get you along. And again, yeah, the plot, it doesn't feel as inspirational as it wants to be. It kind of gets repetitive after a while. It's just him really chasing after this negative, and this whole chase, this objective, it's kind of forgotten. Like in the midpoint, you just end up kind of just taking in the scenery and realizing, oh, cool. And story is a huge thing. It's really important. So it really did put the movie down for me. However, I still think this was an enjoyable movie because by the end of the movie, I think it really did pay off, like emotionally, personally. It is cheesy, like the way it ends. It's kind of predictable also, but like it's heartwarming really. I wouldn't call it stand up and clap and stuff, but it's nice. Okay, so that's my review of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Sorry, this is super late. I know I got really sick, so I got behind on my reviews. But I will be bringing you guys some interesting stuff down the road, so just hold on to that. So yeah, if you have seen this movie or if you haven't, just tell me what you think about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Comment below and let us have a conversation.